Doctrine of precedent, of course, does not mean that it's a one-size-fits-all. Unfortunately or fortunately, cases will differ according to the factual context of the case. So a principle of law which is stare decisis or doctrine of precedent will never be giving you a solution for an individual case which will turn on its facts. So merely deciding on facts is not violating stare decisis. However, what is happening in our country, especially as you go higher, is a feeling of subjectivity and infallibility, which is making more and more judgments like the Chancellor's foot, which means that we have to rein in subjectivity. Now, unfortunate but true, and I've been saying it, that we do not have one Supreme Court, just in case you are mixed up about that. We have at least 12 to 14 Supreme Courts in those 16 courtrooms. Now that kind of subjectivity leads to inconsistency, because then you show me the color of your hair and I'll show you the kind of judgment. Thirdly, the lower courts have been traditionally a little hesitant to give liberty-based bails because of another trend in our country, a very easy way of taking a swipe at the judges that they have been compromised. So judges tend to think that, look, if this kind of allegation we have to face, then better err on the side of denial. As you go higher, that disappears, but then inconsistency comes in completely. And the biggest creator of that inconsistency, unfortunately, is frequently the Supreme Court. Because all the courts below have to look at the Supreme Court. Now you find conflicting 3 or 4 orders, you take your pick. So in a nutshell, the answer to your question is, in liberty, bail matters, the narrow concept which you are asking about, bail the rule, jail the exception must be followed consistently. Variations of that must be corrected immediately. Bail the rule, jail the exception has been followed in special statutes. Normally it is a rule anyway, but special statutes means with special anti-bail provisions. Once you satisfy them, you should be able to. And now there is a new dimension which has been repeated in many of the cases I've had the privilege of assisting the court. Unduly long incarceration by itself becomes a ground, irrespective of a special anti-bail provision in a statute like PMLA, Narcotics Act, UAPA, etc., which are special anti-bail acts. There, repeatedly courts have said you must release because of sheer length of incarceration.